Hello, this is Catherine from Accelerated Reader Reading Books for You. Today I will be reading Chapter 3 from Una Bo, The Magic Tree of Love by Dr. Rebecca Verghese Paul, illustrated by Ada Konewki. Before I begin reading, I would like to give a big thanks to the author for sending me this book to read on my channel. In the description below, I've included links where you may find and purchase this book. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 3. Bodero Gets a Surprise. Bodero was very upset and he wished they would just stop, but they didn't. They tried hot oil and Bodero was weeping by then. When he heard a groan from the tree as the hot oil fell on it, he screamed, "No, no!" He hugged the tree and begged them, "Ask with all your heart, and it will give you what you deserve, not what you want. It looks at your heart and gives you what you need. This tree does not understand greed." And that is when the villagers stopped and listened. They decided to do as Bodero said. The barber, Vinig, asked for 5 sweets, and the tree sent them down in a basket made of twigs, tied to a rope. He looked and knew it was much more than he had hoped for. There were 10 sweets. It was his son's birthday, and Vinig wanted to surprise him. Although Vinig did not know what the sweets were, he was happy. All the villagers were amazed. Only Benita, the baker, was upset. She knew she did not bake the best things. How could she, when they had not seen sugar in ages? She knew she would now lose the few customers she had. She left the place sad. Once everybody's requests were fulfilled, only Bodero remained. He hugged the tree to make it feel better. He was surprised when the tree bent its branches and hugged him back. It gave him a sweet he had never seen before. He tasted it, only to find it popped, and suddenly it felt like there were fireworks going off inside his mouth, except that it had so many different tastes. So this was what sweet tasted like. Wow! The tree kept giving him more sweets to taste. He tried another one that reminded him of all the times he had been happy. He realized he had a wide, silly grin on his face. He tasted the 3rd sweet, only to feel like he was floating and looking at falling stars far up in the sky. And the 4th one, wow! The 4th one made him feel like he was in the middle of a very sweet tornado, swirling and spinning. He was excited to taste the 5th one. He looked at the tree questioningly, only to see it smiling. The 5th one made him feel like he had been plunged into water and ended up floating. A flood of sweetness filled his senses. Wow, this was incredible. He decided to call all his friends over, and the tree gave them more sweets to taste. It felt like all their dreams had come true. They could not even begin to describe what they were feeling. They decided to name the first kind of sweets Dazzlers. The second kind they called Smilitis. The 3rd Stardust. The 4th kind Spinnaroos. And the 5th Flushes. Bodero was a happy boy that day. He knew he had a special friend now. Don't ask how he knew, he just did. Pretty soon, the sweets became a raging success. Benita, the baker, was puzzled because she had never eaten anything like them before, and she was not able to make anything close to them. Mrs. Panso, the schoolteacher, was troubled because the children asked her what they were, and she did not have any answers. It became a regular feature to see people under the tree waiting for sweets. A few weeks later, Bodero was on his way back home from school, sucking on a few flouches. He was just enjoying the sensation of sweetness when, suddenly, he heard a whimpering coming from behind the bushes. It sounded like a puppy, but he was not sure. Could this really be happening? Could Vilgard have made this dream come true too? He looked expectantly behind the bushes and saw a small puppy whining. One of its legs was crooked and bleeding. Poor pup! Maybe that was why it couldn't move. It would fall prey to wild animals if he left it there. Where was the mother? He looked everywhere for the mother, but couldn't find her. He quickly picked up the puppy and put it inside his coat. He would go home and explain to his parents. Surely they wouldn't want him to leave it outside to die, and he had wanted a puppy for so long. He reached home and cleaned up the pup as much as he could. He knew its leg was broken, so he managed to make a splint with a stick and tie it on. The pup licked him in gratitude, and he patted it. He went inside and saw his mother at the stove. "Mother, I have something to tell you." "What is it?" "Well, I found this little puppy that was hurt and—" "Do not tell me you brought it home. Oh my, look at how dirty your clothes are. You have blood all over them. You should know better by now. You know we cannot afford new clothes," she said, looking at him sternly. "Mother, I know. I will wash the clothes. Do not worry. I could not leave the puppy to die outside. Please tell me I can keep it." "Bodero, a dog is a lot of work. I am not sure you are ready for that kind of responsibility. You should ask your father." His father had come in while they were talking. "Let me take a look at the puppy." He looked at the puppy and told Bodero, "You did the right thing by making a splint. It should heal well in a few weeks." "Thank you, father." "But if you want to keep the dog, you will have to make sure to feed it and take it out on walks." "Yes, father, I will," he replied, his eyes shining. Bodero decided to call him Spirit. He knew the puppy had to have some spirit to survive on its own out in the cold. He ran outside in glee. He would take care of the pup as best as he could. He decided to go and show Spirit to Mayana, his new friend. They spent the most time at the tree. It was hard not to be friends. She sold flowers when she was not at school, and Bodero helped her once in a while. Mayana had 6 fingers on one hand, and he didn't think it odd, but a lot of the children bullied her because of it. He had tried to fight them a couple of times because he couldn't stand people bullying others. He had to stop when Mayana told him not to bother. She did not seem to care and always ignored them. But Bodero knew she was hurt by what the bullies did. He was upset too, but he realized she could take care of herself. Mrs. Penso, their teacher, always took care of Mayana at school. She knew how the children bullied her. Mayana was grateful for Bodero and Mrs. Penso. They made her life so much happier. Mayana's parents were very nice to Bodero. They always made him stay for dinner whenever he visited. He also liked going to her house because Mayana's mother was teaching her how to cook, and they always let him try everything she had helped make. He, too, had managed to learn a little cooking, and that made his mother very happy. Mayana was as excited to see Spirit as Bodero had expected, and Spirit seemed to love her too. The 3 were inseparable after that. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for Chapter 4. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In the description below, I've included links for me to find and purchase this book.